All right.
Let's go.
All right. Welcome back to the After School Writers Podcast. Today, I'm Dias. I'm back with Lid and Fallen, and we have a special guest with us. Would you like to introduce yourselves? Yourselves? Yourself, because there's one person.
Special.
Oh my God.
Wow, this is
That was a crazy
amazing.
fucker.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Johnny Mueller. I've been on here before. This is my third time, I believe. It's been a while since I've been on, but I'm glad to be back on this the shindig.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at your profile picture. So, like, with the old way I used to do icons was we had like a set picture that we would have, but the new way I do the icons, it pulls directly from Discord. So, like, your Discord icons changed. I can see that now on the OBS.
Yeah.
Who is that?
So this is Miu Otori from the anime Sabagebu, which I'm currently rewatching right
Fucking
now.
nerd.
Oh. That's crazy. No, continue, man. Don't let Dias insult just like take your words away or something, you know.
Yeah, be truthful in
He's
your
fully left.
anime.
He's fully turned around and walked off.
That's actually the end of the line.
Well, I guess we're doing a 3-man podcast.
Wait, hold on. Wait, did I didn't hear what I mean, I heard Dai say something, but like, what did he actually say?
He called you a nerd.
I mean, yeah, we are doing a podcast that started with fucking Love Life fan fiction. We are all nerds here.
We're still all about the love life, don't worry. And the fanfiction.
Oh.
Not sure about the fanfic.
I've done a little writing.
Yeah, Dice wrote the Yoriko finally.
Yeah! That's a good,
Oh,
that's a
yeah,
good starting
hey.
point. How did you like it? I mean, I know you liked it because you left a comment and I appreciate that.
Of course, I always leave comments on Yoriko's. Anyway, it was very, very lovely.
Yay.
I love seeing everybody's interpretation of Yoriko. You know, everybody has their own twist to it. It's lovely.
Yeah, this one turned out to be like more interesting than I thought because I told you my initial idea, which I felt was very generic and not very interesting, and I might still do that. I don't know, maybe not for Eureka, but this one was just like quiet girl in the corner of the library, extremely relatable vibes of like, I don't want to talk to anyone, so I'm just here with a book, even though I'm at a party.
Yeah,
Totally not
she's so YN.
Yeah. She's got like an academic book cover on like her YA novel. She's reading Twilight when you're not looking.
Oh yeah. No shame in that.
Yeah, but like Yoriko is always a really fun pairing. Speaking of like Love Live fan fiction, it's the classic for this group specifically.
Kotoumi.
Let's
that
go.
was pretty classic.
Amazing, beautiful. I was gonna say something, but that the spoiler for Fallen's writing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
exciting. Do you want to dive into a topic then?
Oh, you know what? Based off of the saying for Fallen's writing, the topic I had brought up is maybe for you guys you could answer.
Yeah.
What is it like to proofread for others, or have your things proofread?
I wouldn't know proofreadings for cowards.
That's
Rip.
fucking crazy.
I love having my stuff proofread because it's like you're going to your parents. You're like, did I do good? Did I do good?
Yeah.
Just in the comments of what I write, I
Please
would not want
validate that this is not trash. A lot of times I'll specify with people like, hey, I'm not looking for, because when I ask people to like beta read my fic, which is not necessarily the same as proofreading, right?
Yeah.
I almost very specifically asked them to not proofread. I asked them like, don't worry about the spelling mistakes. I'll run over it with Google later, right? Like, just tell me if you thought it was good, if you thought it was cute. Like, just tell me your thoughts on this. That's really what I'm looking for when I'm like when I ask for someone to read my works. And
Oh,
sometimes
so it's like if it's a good story in general.
yeah, that's mostly what I'm looking for when I ask someone like, "Hey, can you read this?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it can be awkward because often if I'm like unsure about an idea, I will like share a fragment of a story, right? Because I haven't written it yet, but I'm like, do you think this idea is good? Do you think it's like a good intro? And a lot of people, and this might just be the circles we're in, a lot of people don't know how to talk about a fragment of a story. So it's like I don't get a lot of helpful advice when it's like a fragment of a story. But when you have like a full story and people get like a full picture, that's when I think you have a little bit more, like as a critic, a little more space to be like, okay, I've holistically analyzed this work. Here's what I want to talk about. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. You Fallen?
I like to have my things proofread because I just suck at writing sometimes. And I need someone to look after my ass.
I imagine, is English your second language or is it your first language?
I know it's my first language, but I don't really usually like. I don't used to write well. Like I think Supreme can see like the early works. It's pretty horrible. It's actually pretty bad. The grammar is all over the place.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable like writing in English, I assume like in that case, the proofreader, you definitely need more of the grammar side of it than necessarily.
No, I think it's more like I'm comfortable in writing English. It's just that I am unaware that I write like shit. I just write like whatever I imagine. And
when
I
I say
just
you're comfortable writing in English, I mean like like you're confident that what you're writing is like not full of grammar errors.
No, I used to not care about that. Like I used to be like, okay, as long as we don't get my imagination, I think that's pretty fine. But I think that when Supreme saw it and then he gave like a good lashing out at me, like what the fuck is this? And then I was like, okay, right.
Oh no!
Like shit.
Reality check.
Take him to the shed, boys. So
Yeah, and then it's also like reading my past books that I feel like, oh, what the fuck is this? And it's like, oh my god, I really written this during like younger, yeah. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I should change. Or not. I think people like me will like cringe at the writing.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've had your stuff proofread a lot. Do you ever proofread for other people?
I've never proofread for other people. I think. Yeah, I have never because, like, I don't know. Nobody usually asks me to proofread. But I mean, maybe because I just suck at it. But
well, I wouldn't ask you to proofread. But like, I have a story. Actually, I don't think you would like the story I'm working on.
Yeah, that's true because I don't really have a lot of interest. Okay, wait. I did proofread for someone. Rob. He's not here, but I proofread his Sonic fic. His Sonic Love Life fic.
He hasn't posted it yet. No spoilers.
Yeah, he hasn't. I think it's not recent, but it was like some time ago. Like I think he posted like 1 or 2 chapters for me to read. Yeah, I gave him some feedback.
Yeah, but Rob's like a very new writer. So, he's trying to do that thing where you write a bunch of chapters, right? Because he's trying to do the long fic thing, isn't he?
Oh, that's always the hardest.
Yeah,
I just
it
want to
is the hard.
this a Sonic Love Life fanfic.
Yeah, and it's like there's a thing where you're a kid and you're like, Pokemon and Sonic work together perfectly. Kingdom Hearts and Sonic work together perfectly. Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon work together perfectly. I'm gonna write crossover after crossover after crossover, right? And then you realize writing is kind of hard, and like actually this takes a lot of work and effort.
Yeah. I feel that.
There's a sort of childlike dream of like, hey, let's just combine stuff I like and make it like, and it has this feeling of being new and nostalgic at the same time, right? And that's a lot of fun to invoke as a writer and a lot of fun to get as a reader, even if it's extremely niche and it's gonna get you maybe 12 hits on AO3.
I was gonna say that's Kingdom Hearts anyway. Kingdom Hearts is just putting all your toys in your backyard and just being like, what if Mickey Mouse was in Lion King and Goofy was in Aladdin? It's already there, so it's just easy to imagine there's something with it.
Yeah, you think like crossovers between sometimes would be really natural. But I think because the established audience is like there for Kingdom Hearts stuff, if you take Kingdom Hearts and add something else to it, it's like, well, now I'm not necessarily interested unless I'm also interested in the other thing, right?
Yeah.
It makes crossovers really hard to... I mean, one, crossovers are already fucking hard to write because just smashing two things together is not... it's not always a clean combination, right? You see this with like celebrities all the time. You're like, oh, I love Ed Sheeran and I love, like Taylor Swift. Oh, they should do something together. Well, you put them together and they're different people. They have different ideas, right? They don't necessarily... Just because they both make music doesn't mean they can make music together. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
Yeah.
For me,
That
I
sounds true.
And
Yeah,
I think
for me,
there's
I think you got
something like
distracted.
that in fan fiction or any sort of writing where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have these two ideas. Let me mash them together. It's like, well, maybe something shouldn't be combined.
Well, I got distracted for a moment. It's just talking about fan fiction. I thought you were talking about like an RPM Ed Sheeran / Taylor Swift fanfic, and I'm like, that's already a
Oh no.
horrible idea.
It's always a fanfiction for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta create the niche thing though. Like, nobody out there is gonna make a Yoriko and Dragon Ball Z, but I like it, so I gotta make
But-
it, you know?
Hey, you did it. You finally did it.
Yeah, you see, and you know what? It inspires some people, so it's like, it's super niche, but sometimes you just
Yeah.
gotta do it.
It's,
Yeah, like-
again, like filling the childhood fantasy for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the last, because I haven't been really writing much for a couple months, but the last fic I did was for pretty niche fandom, and that felt nice. Yeah. It's for
You write for a lot of like older animes, right?
I think the stuff that's more niche for me is like recent seasonals that perhaps weren't super popular, like or like maybe kind of fell away quickly. Like the last one I did was for the series Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, which came out last year.
That was
I mean,
very
that's
popular,
still-
but yeah, I know what you.
Very popular, but also kind of divisive at the same time. So the popularity for that
It wasn't
did fall
popular
a
in
bit.
any of the circles that I share you with, but I watched it and I liked it, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter and stuff being really into it, but I didn't see anyone on Discord being into it.
Yeah, I mean Discord. Yeah, it's more sort of like Reddit or Twitter circle kind of thing.
Which is
Especially after
a very different vibe, right? If
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I want to enjoy it, it's very different if
Yeah.
you're like enjoying it with your friend group versus internet strangers.
Yeah.
Do you like when you're watching something like I almost said Rent a Girlfriend? I don't know if you watched that.
Ew.
What was the fucking whenever you're watching these seasonal shows, right? Do
Mhm.
you find yourself looking for like other people talking about it? Like you look to Reddit, you look at in Crunchyroll now they have like the comments at the bottom, or on like some piracy sites,
Yeah.
sites. I know Netflix doesn't do it. A lot of sites don't do it because if you introduce a comment section, then you're
It's gonna-
responsible
yeah,
for the
Yeah.
content that is there. You're responsible for filtering that. So a lot of sites will just say, "Oh no comments," right? We'll just leave it be. But do you go look for other people talking about this thing that you want?
It depends. Like if I'm kind of like watching it and I don't care too much about it, probably not. But if it's like my favorite of the season or what I'm really enjoying, yeah. I mean, I would just say it depends on sort of like my level of interest. Like if I care about it, yeah, I'll go stuff for it. If it's stuff that I'm just like it's fine, probably not as much.
Right. Fall in love.
You know, I'm
you?
always looking for something like if I just get into something, I definitely want to see like newest like fan art stuff. Like Rob and I in ConCon we just finished watching Black Lagoon, and I'd really
Ooh,
like
I
to
just-
see.
Ooh,
I just watched the first season of that. Yeah.
Black Lagoon.
We- we had watched it, and I really loved Fabiola and Garcia. I thought they were really cute. Obviously, the ending didn't put them together. So I went and I looked for them everywhere. I went like on Reddit, on Twitter, on like Tumblr. I even went on Wattpad. Like I was desperate for something. Nobody written for them.
Garcia
But it's like-
and Roberta. Okay, so like,
Sorry, not Roberta.
Fabiola,
Fabiola.
the green haired one. Yeah.
so I know one of them is the maid. Who's the other one?
Well, they're both made. Fabiola's the one that gets introduced in the Roberta's blood trail.
Yeah, she's like the young girl maid, and then Garcia is the boy who's like rich. He has a rich father.
Yeah, he's the master.
Oh.
The master son. Yeah.
Yeah, like they
I
were
wasn't
so cute.
expecting that. They have like a huge age difference between them, don't they?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
that's Fabiola.
Roberta.
She's like this. Fabiola.
Yeah, Fabiola. She's like a teenager. I think she's meant to be. Whereas Roberta is older. I mean, she was a
Yeah, Roberta's like old as fuck.
old as fuck, but will still kick your ass.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
like she's like
like
she
her-
was in the military. Black Lagoon is
Yeah.
wild, y'all. If y'all haven't watched it, it's a
Especially,
good time.
especially watching the dub. The dub is not the most profane, but still one of the most profane dubs ever recorded. I
I
think.
always have
Oh, yeah, they're
problems
very
watching dubs.
Yeah,
But
Black Lagoon's a
like I was
good
like,
one.
the pretty much Roberta. She's like the much older one that ends up with Garcia. Spoiler alert. But I
Yeah.
thought it was really weird, so I like Fabiola and
Yeah.
Garcia, which are both young kids, so it made sense. Either way, nobody wrote for them. But I was still researching like every single place for them.
So you don't necessarily go looking for like, oh hey, let's talk plot points, right? You're like, I want to find the shippers. Where are the people on Tumblr? Bring them out.
Sometimes it's shippers. Sometimes I just like the one character and I want to see more of one character.
Right.
So I'm gonna look everywhere. I need to like drain the resources. That's
No,
my whole thing.
I especially with like the seasonal anime, I feel you so much because it's like, I really like the fourth most popular character, and it's like, turns out fourth is just enough that nobody draws this character.
Yeah. Gotta wait a few years so somebody comes to their senses.
Or it gets like another season, you're like, finally more attention.
Yeah. They get the one episode, somebody draws something.
Yeah.
I mean, the shows I like tend to be almost no tension. Like the last show that I was watching was it's like there's like a lady who works in an office and her cat takes
the
care
Masterful
of her.
Cat is depressed or
Yeah,
something like
the
that?
Masterful Cat is depressed again. Is the show
Did you
Splice
get
of
blind
Life?
from that?
Very like goofy comedy. Like there's just a lady who works at home and her cat is massive. Her cat looks like a furry. He's like a 7 foot tall looking cat. He's still super furry. He acts like a cat, but he's also like cleans the house and like does the dishes and like cooks for her, and it's very sweet. It's very relaxing. There's no plot. Your head is empty the entire time. You might as well pull up a second show and watch two shows at the same time. It's so empty.
Your head is empty, but your eyes are filled with it being go hands.
Oh yeah, like okay, if you haven't heard of this show, right? The Masterful Cat is depressed again. Just watch the first 2 minutes of the first episode. They go so hard on the animation for no reason, right? Like it's like spinning camera angles, and here's like hundreds of people walking to the train, and like here's like a beautiful skyline. It's like, why is there so much animation in this absolutely nothing burger of an anime?
Because it's go hands. Because they're like, let's just put everything in at once. And I will admit, I'm someone who hasn't seen and go hands anime, but I've seen enough clips to at least have something of an opinion on their direction techniques, let's call them.
Yeah, it's a proofreading, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Lid. What are your thoughts on proofreading?
Well, I proofread. I proofread for like a good amount of people. I know I proofread for Dice before. And like, I feel like even if, like, because personally, I look at the overall. Thank you. I do try, look at the overall story, which like obviously, if somebody tells me beforehand, hey, I just want this, then I'm gonna do like whatever they want. But you know, there are times where like I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, this is like a storyline. Other times I'm like, yeah, this was okay. But like, something I do enjoy, like when I would read some things, is that I like when people use like new phrases and stuff. And I know Fallen uses a lot of new phrases I've never heard. So like sometimes I read them and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like I'm gonna take this and put it in my own writing. You know? But personally, I like proofreading. I find it fun. I do feel bad whenever they tell me, like, can you proofread this? And I forget a week later.
Oh no, I feel that. Yeah, nah, because a lot of times if I proofread something, I'm like, the next day I'm probably gonna just post it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make like 1 or 2 small changes. I'm gonna post it the next day.
I'm not the next day. I'm just like, as soon as I'm done, give it a quick look through, and I'm like, there we go.
Nope, it's up. Good luck, internet.
It's off. It's off into the world.
It's your problem now. I'm not gonna think about this story anymore, except maybe check the hits repeatedly.
Yeah.
Wait, how many times do you guys like reread a story before you post it?
Like
Almost
once.
Wow. I have to reread my story. It has to be reread 3 times at least.
When you say reread, like, is it you're talking about after the story is completed? You're like,
Yeah, like after you've finished the whole thing and you're like you've written the whole thing pretty much.
I
Like
would say
even if it's just a rough draft.
I usually give it a once over, just to check for. Mostly, I'm not even reading the story. If I'm like, you know, I've gotten the proofreaders and I'm like, all right, I think it's good enough, right? I've talked before about how I've tried to be like, I try to not get too precious about things with stories. I try not to linger too long on details and stuff like that. I forget what did I say, 70%, 80%, something like that. You get to about 80% of where you want to be with the thing you're making, and then you post it. Because the last 20% is like so much more effort when you're in that sort of refinement phase of like really, like, you know, you've got like pasta strands and you're like, ooh, let me crimp my pasta strands with a fork and now let me get them steamed. So it's like, no, you don't need to fuck around with all that, bro. Like you can just post it. So I just give it a once over, mostly for looking for like grammar errors and things like that. Once I'm like confident that it's like done.
Interesting.
Cool.
Fallen, what about you?
Oh, I've already answered the question.
Yeah. What was the only one who?
No, about what Lid was asking.
Oh, you mean the rereading?
Yes.
I only most of the time I don't like reread after proofreading. So I will do it usually before proofreading. I will like read it once and then I'll be like, okay. Because I just want to like get the plot straight. I mean, I want to make sure that there's no like plot. There won't be people asking what the fuck happened between this point and this point. But I can't even answer because I didn't read it.
I didn't read my own work.
Disappears.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So that's why I just reread once before the proofread, and then after the proofread, I think because Lead usually also reads it before like commenting on some stuff in there, and then it's like, yeah, okay, so I'll just add that in. So I think after everything, it should be fine. Then I'll just post it straight after she proofread it.
It's so nice when you like get a nice comment on your fic. Even like with the proofreader, it's like a lot of times proofreaders will like just be like, yeah, I like this, and I'm like, that's not helpful, but thank you.
Oh yeah.
No worries, Lee. I don't see it that way.
You mentioned before, Fallen, though, that you reread your old fics. How often do you do that? You like go through the library. You're like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. I should do something like this again.
Not really. It's just like I really have nothing better to do in my life than to just reread stuff. Yeah. So it's like, you know, okay. So it's like
That's
either when
grass,
I have
man.
nothing better. Yeah. It's like either when I have nothing better to do, or like I'm writing a sequel, one of those fics, and then I was like, okay, I'll go back and reread it. And then I will always cringe at how bad I wrote it. Like really, really bad.
Felt.
Like yeah, because like it was I was like super young and I didn't know like much about writing. I just wanted to write because I like to write and I
Yeah.
like to get my ideas out, and then it ends up in a bunch of proper cringe piece
Oh,
of
if
shit.
it's like old fiction, I'm sure I've
Yeah.
not touched my old fan fiction account, but I'm sure it's a nightmare.
Mhm.
Okay, we can transition to the next topic of have you ever thought of rewriting your own things?
I have. I mean, I've actually done it.
Oh shit,
Nice.
really? Damn.
Yeah.
Was it like a
We have
long
first-hand
fic or just like
experience.
one
Let's go.
I mean, just one shots. You know,
When
it's
you
not
say
like I'm
rewrite, what do you mean?
Yeah. So I don't rewrite
like-
it from scratch. Or I mean, yeah. What do you mean by rewrite?
Oh, I'm just saying like
Well, I was asking you, Johnny, because you've rewritten.
I
the
didn't know if
fic.
you're asking me. Okay, so I
Yeah, they
just sort of,
like
take-
specify that.
I take the sort of the base fic that I have and I look over it and I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I can add some more stuff here, or maybe, you know, maybe I want to rewrite the sentence, or like, oh, I forgot the word, I'm gonna add that. But I don't like, you know, sort of like take it from I don't rebuild it.
So
Sort
you're
of
not.
like,
It's not a
look-
slash and burn. It's like a. Oh, let me tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, let me enhance, let me add stuff, let me change stuff. Yeah.
I've definitely had times where like I'll look back at an old fic and I'll be like, especially if it's like a niche fandom that I'm like getting back into, right? Like I have a
Mhm.
non Biori fic, which is a lovely fandom and a lovely
Mhm.
show. And I have one fic for them, and every once in a while I'll go back and I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh wow, this was really dog shit. But it's like, you know, it's like I don't mind doing like little tweaks, but I've never done like a hard like, oh, let me like edit the structure of this. You know what I mean? Let me like,
oh yeah.
it'll be like consistency things. It'll be like, oh, like she's described as having a skirt over here. I should have it be poofy so that it makes sense. in the
Yeah.
scene, right?
Mhm.
Things like that, like little things where I'm like, ooh, this is enhance it.
Yeah, for me, I would say that, yeah, I did thought of it, and I'm doing it right now. Like I'm rewriting one of my multi-chapter fics. I'm like reworking. It's not really rewriting. It's reworking on it. It's like I'm planning to publish a whole new one about it. It's just the main plot's the same. It's just what's inside, like in between that kind of stuff. You know, I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
change
so
a few
like
things.
the thing you asked initially was like, have you ever thought about rewriting your fic? And I assume, do you mean like a full like slash and burn start from the beginning with like, oh, I know like the major plot points, but I'm gonna do it again in a way that I feel better about.
Yeah. That's kind of what. Yeah, that's what kind of what I'm doing. That is what I'm.
It's gotta be a lot of work, surely. I mean,
Yeah.
the fic.
Yeah, you write multi-chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. Like, but I feel that, you know, if I continue to reread my old fics and I see that kind of horrible plot that I thought of in during young, I wouldn't really like take it down. Like I wouldn't feel like, you know, good about it. So I just really thought that I should rewrite it because I can read the new one and it will feel better.
Imagine the trip somebody has that they're like, oh my god, I remember the story.
Yeah,
they go to
yeah.
reread it, and it's like totally different.
Oh,
Yeah.
That'd be kind of funny.
But there is also like the opposite reaction, right? Of like, oh, it's a shame. I really like this story, but I really wish like he expanded on this part of the story, right? Or like,
Yeah.
but like
but
fan fiction to me has never necessarily been timeless. It's always had a very like read it once and then throw it away kind of a feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No, I mean I just do it because I want. I didn't really like think about like if other people would.
You
It's
didn't
just that
have like a deep philosophy. You were like pouring over notebooks like, oh, how do I optimize my revenue stream? You were like, oh yeah, let me just make shit.
Yeah, because it's just like what I said, it's just like my own personal thing. I really don't like reading stuff that I don't like. And somehow like the fandom that I'm writing for, that the anime changed a lot. I written the first book for that before the movie came out and before like a lot of other like what do I say canon things came out. So it was like underdeveloped. So when I wrote it out and when the movie came out, it was like completely two different things. And then I was like, okay, I didn't even follow the movie at all. I'm fucked. So that's why I decided to rewrite everything because it's like now I have the movie, now I have the canon stuff. I can like rewrite, I can like rework it to a way that it follows those things, and it still follows the plot, that I have.
Yeah, I've read that habit a lot for Harry Potter fan fiction during when the books were still being written. Like, the example I always think of is like, there was this minor character in Slytherin named he was like Blaze Bonnie, and there was just a name and no description. So people were like, well, I'm gonna write them as like a white man, and people were like, well, I'm gonna write them as like an Asian woman, and then like a specific description was given, and people were like, well, I guess we gotta use that, or otherwise like uncanonize that in some way.
Oh,
Interesting. That's why you
I've
always
never heard of
gotta
that.
wait for stuff. You know, I feel that because I wanted to write Rico for the Yoshiko anime, but like, I was like, I don't want to write it and then like them be like totally different like in the anime.
Mm.
So I just like never did.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, luckily the anime, there's 2 episodes left at the time we're recording this. So like, it's very much they're both background characters, so you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Love that. Love when you can
Well,
just
hold on.
create your own lore.
Did you know Yohane has characters besides Yohane and Line Lapse? Impossible.
Well, they're characters, but they're not. It's a slice of life show, so we don't do that whole development bullshit. We just enjoy ourselves and have a good time.
I mean,
No
that implies
thoughts, head
Love Life.
empty.
That implies Love Life does development anyway.
Well, Sunshine did. Sunshine went hard on its plot, and it was also the least popular of the animes. So clearly plot's not what's winning them over. The Yohane anime tries to do plot, and whenever it does plot, I like shut down. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a boring episode.
Keyword being surprised.
That is funny. But back on rewriting, I have actually rewritten one of my fics before. It was one of the multi-chapter one I had.
This is a common
And
thing. I didn't think people actually like went back, or I guess I just never went back myself.
I just really liked the fic. I feel like I got a lot of feedback on it, like just a lot of comments in general. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back before I post the last chapter, and I'm gonna make sure it's a story that like I can enjoy because I started it like the year before. So I want to be able to read it from beginning to end, like I've been reading it, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, and like probably like if you've written it over the course of a year, probably you've changed a lot as a writer, and maybe like your ideas have changed about like the story and like stuff like that. Huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, is it infected? You rewrite?
Yeah, I rewrote it before I published like the ending.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Should I move to the next topic?
Yeah, sure.
I got
Johnny,
one.
do you want to pick one? Just like
Yeah, so
we
so
got
the
the
time
list.
we're recording-
Just like pick whatever.
Yeah.
appeals to you.
Yeah. So at the time we're recording this, the previous week, the Netflix One Piece series came out, which and I haven't seen, but lots of people were saying it's good. For one thing, it's good. Live action Western anime adaptation. And so I'm curious to sort of be all thinking about sort of 2 questions. One, what Western or at least non-Japanese properties do you think would make for good anime? And inversely, what anime or manga, or something specifically from Japan, do you think would make for good American or Western film or TV show?
I got one. I think
It's gonna be
because they
TBC.
tried originally doing an anime, but they didn't. The Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh,
They had initially tried it.
Yo, the
in
fandom's already
anime
there.
style.
It was like, what? It was like number 6 or number 9 or something on like the list of the most like dipped pairings. Was like
Yeah. Like they had tried it with the anime at first, however, due to the fact that her thoughts for the ladybug and her costume for to animate, they made it CGI. So they just like knocked it down for kids.
which is always very
but
popular
they-
with the online folks.
Yeah, but like if you look online, you still see little clips of like when they did like do their pilot in anime, and like it was really good. I feel like they could do it, and they've even made it into a manga now. So it's
They
kind
did
of
make
like
it into a
they're
manga.
inching towards it. They're inching towards it, and I feel like they should take that final step and create the anime, and it would do great.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it is
That's a
pretty
good
popular in
answer.
Japan. I believe it airs on the
That's a
Japanese
great
news
answer.
channel. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I mean that's a French cartoon, right? Or at least French produced.
Yeah.
I mean, look, France has been weebs for a long time, so that makes perfect sense.
So true.
I don't have any
Yeah.
particular. I don't really watch live action stuff. I don't even have Netflix anymore, so it's like, you guys can have fun. As far
I
as
mean,
like,
there's books, there's things outside of just the visual mediums, Dias.
What about
No.
fan fiction? Making some
I feel like
fan
we
fiction
talked
ideas
about
anime.
like trying to convert fan fiction to anime before, and I think our conclusion was that'd be very hard.
Hey, look, 50 Shades of Grey. It was successful. Was it good? Debatable, but it was successful.
It wasn't
You
fan
know what? A lot of the fan fictions turned to live action, but none ever turned to animation.
fiction.
Yeah,
They
the
should
only
try
thing,
that.
the only thing close I can think of is there was a Japanese science fiction novel published in the 2010s that I believe started off as a Higawaki fanfic and won like a big Japanese science fiction award.
Yeah, but wasn't that just like
You would have to sanitize it. You'd have to like take out the.
Well,
The
yeah, that's what they did.
fanfiction
Is like they
bits.
took out the modified stuff and made it an original story, but still kept, I believe, the basics. It's similar to Shades of Grey, where she took out all the Twilight stuff and then just made it an original story.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
gonna
at
put them in AUs.
all. Oh, yeah.
As for me, I mean, I think there's quite a few anime that I think would make for good live action. So I think a particularly untapped resource is slice of life. I feel like a lot of slice of life anime, if done correctly, could make for good, like, half-hour sitcoms. Especially the ones that like primarily set in one location. Where you only need a couple of sets. I think could
Get
make
like a
for
K-drama kind of vibe.
Yeah, or like, I think something like Is the Order of Rabbit would make for a very cute sitcom if done. And that one's already, Western influenced anyway. So that's the thing. And that was another reason I wanted to ask this question, because, people think of anime as like such a specific Japanese medium. There's a column.
I don't know what you're talking about. Rick and Morty had
It's
so
it's
all off the table.
There's a column in Anime News Network a few weeks ago about, they trying to question, like, what is anime? It's like, Suicide Squad's getting anime, Rick and Morty's getting an anime, and so people are, at least certain sections of anime fans seem like, well, the West is coming over to invade anime, but if you look at the history of anime, it's always had influence from the West. You look at these original anime creators, they were always influenced by the West. Some of the most popular anime in the 20th century were these adaptations of classic Western novels like Anne of Green
I'm
Gables
sorry,
or Little
what
Women,
are you,
things like that.
are you protesting against so many people are saying
No,
something about the Rick
I'm
and
just
Morty
saying,
anime?
I'm just saying, I think there's a misconception amongst certain anime fans of this Western invasion or whatever you would call it. So, like, the Western influence on anime being a more recent occurrence when it's all, anime's always been Western influence in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, right? I think, anyone who tries to make anything, right? You have kind of an infinite number of potential influences. I don't know, these people you're talking against. I don't know what their whole position is. So
I mean,
can't
it's
really,
the kind of people who are like, oh, Netflix is ruining anime, or anime creators are paying too much attention to us. Like I mentioned, it's a minority, I feel, amongst
Yeah,
anime fans,
I've
but it
never
is.
What I will say
They're
though,
annoying.
if you're
Yeah.
if you're someone who likes traditional anime more than the live action stuff, just watch what you like. It's something that we talk about with fan fiction, especially if fan fiction goes fan fiction can be very, very narrow. You know, in its appeal. And you know, hey, if you don't like certain ideas, if you don't like the whatever that flower disease is, if you don't like guy on guy, just don't read it. You're not forced to read that stuff, right? You can just
No,
leave
it
alone.
exists. So it's clearly something I have to read.
I have to read. I have to comment. I have to give my opinion.
It's a similar thing with, you know, okay. Now I hate to say not to be political, but you know, maybe some people don't like that there's reality out there. But you know, it's a similar thing with, you know, people like, oh, you know, there's novels that deal with race and sexuality and gender identity. I don't like that. It's like, well, no one's telling you to read it. It's just there for people who want to read it. If you don't want to read it, cool, but don't force other people to not be able to read it.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking real life politics, it's like there's a lot of parents who like have a hard time controlling what their kid consumes, and so they want, like, you know, it's a whole thing.
That reminds me of a Black Mirror episode where like this
Mm.
mom, she basically wanted like control her child, and so like they had this like, futuristic thing where you could put chips in their like head to see what they're watching. But then like it got to the point where she became so controlling, and like the daughter just like totally backlash at her. I'm pretty sure they got in like a fight, and like a fist fight, and like she ran away. But it was like it was just because her mom was so controlling over her life, you know. And, you know, I feel like that Black Mirror is like they really do. They're very good at like kind of putting these like what ifs into the future that like would be possible, you know. Like kids, they reach a certain age where they just want to see what they want to see. Like they have interest, and now they're researching further into them.
Oh, yeah.
And like as a parent, you're trying to like stop them, but it's like if they're interested, they're gonna do it anyways.
No, like I feel like we've talked before about how we're both in more on the traditional side of the families, right?
Yeah.
Like I have friends who I've talked to, and like I'm 27, they're like 25, 24-ish. They're like starting families, and I'm like single. But it's like I still feel the need to give parenting advice because I'm awful.
Yeah.
A lot of
that's something dying would do anyway.
a lot of people in like sort of Muslim spaces, a lot of people in sort of you know, American Muslim, I'll say, spaces, they get really concerned because you'll find The Simpsons everywhere, right? You'll find South Park everywhere. Even on YouTube, your kid will just start watching it, and you're like, well, I guess they've been exposed now. What do I do, right? And it's this really terrifying thing where it's like a lot of people will say, like, the most common advice I've heard is you have to teach your child well, and they'll ignore it on their own, right?
Yeah.
And that works, but I would say it doesn't work all the time. I think like it depends on how obedient your kid is, and you know, they're not going to be obedient forever.
Yeah, but then I guess
And
it
if they are-
is the whole thing. If you raise them right, they're gonna do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's always the mentality, but like, you know, I believe in the theory that you need kids to be able to fuck up and not feel like everything is falling apart. You know?
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I mean, there's
I've talked to you about this. Is like this idea that like there's this perfectionist attitude, and people really try to control their image and control themselves, and they project that onto other people, and it's really, really harmful. That sort of thing. I grew up in that kind of environment. It did me a lot of problems. It stopped me from trying new things. Stopped me from growing. Stopped me from speaking about a lot of things. It meant I was an obedient kid. Hey, my mom was happy, right? But it didn't lead to me growing up necessarily well.
Yeah, but look at you now. You're a successful love-like fan fiction writer.
Hell.
That's the
Your mother
best you
must
can
be so
get.
proud. Yeah.
Well, I also make money, so it's like, hey,
Yeah.
you've done it. You've achieved adulthood.
Anyway, going back to the original question, I forgot I didn't answer the inverse of it, which is what Western properties would I like to see being adapted to anime. And honestly, I would love to see like a anime adaptation of like a Jane Austen or Bronte novel, which even in like back in the 70s and 90s when they were adapting all those classic Western literature novels, those never got adapted, and I think they would be, for some, especially depending on the, studio and director, you can get some really fun adaptations out of doing an anime of Pride and Prejudice or Northern Heights or something like that. I think, there's something about, the Victorian aesthetic is already popular in Japan and anime, the Lolita style, sort of that aesthetic. And also, the typically romances, there's the
Everyone
Wildy
drinking tea, looking out the window on their
drinking tea,
Thursday.
subtweeting each other and stuff like that. But Austin and Bronte, it's all
You
about
put
the
down your tea
feelings
and
and
pick up your
emotion.
phone to talk about this.
This bitch, yeah. But yeah, this would be fun.
Fallen, what about you?
What?
So yeah,
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
So yeah, the question of is there anything non-Japanese that you'd like to see being made into an anime, and is there anything from Japan that you think would make for a good Western film or TV show?
Nothing comes to my mind today. It's just that I think the media that it is right now should stay where it is right now. I don't like for the recent thing is like One Piece being made into a live action. I don't see the shit. I don't see the reason why anyone would do that. I mean, it might have received like good praise from fans, but I really don't see the reason why they should make it into a live action at all.
Yeah, I'm like,
Honestly.
I'm right there with you where it's like, oh, it's cool that this did well, but it's not for me, right? Like you all enjoy your thing over there away from me.
Very far away from me.
Actually,
Away from this worldwide company.
I will say there's a lot of cooking anime out there. I feel like that would be very straightforward to convert into. Like, Johnny, you and I are both huge fans of Isekai Shokudo.
Yeah,
That would
think,
be
awesome.
awesome.
I mean, the main thing would, the main issue would be sort of like, sort of like the more fantastical aspect, like how much like I would assume like the lizard guy would either be like a costume or like the CGI in some way. But yeah, I think, and especially because it's just that one set mainly, that would probably help to shorten the budget for that. But yeah, I think that would be also a nice one. Like I mentioned, I think a lot of slice of life anime could make for good, half-hour TV shows.
Because the recipes, the food they cook is real food.
It's all simplified in a Western influence of Japanese restaurant.
It's like, hey, here's a burger. Let's do
Yeah,
16
I was gonna say,
cinematic
here's
shots
four
of
burgers.
panorama. There you go, man. Like,
Yeah.
Great British Bake Off didn't know what it was dealing with.
When you brought up food anime, I thought you were going to say Food Wars, and I'm like, on a certain platform, perhaps.
That Food Wars has been on my to-watch list for a long time. And 90% of it is because there's this hot blonde girl who, tastes food a lot. And, you see the fan art, and you're like, I like this girl. She's cute. Where's she from? Oh, Food Wars. I'll check that out at some point. It's been a while.
But Food Wars is really long, and you wouldn't really want to make Food Wars in live action.
Hey, I'm a One Piece fan. Don't worry about it.
Jesus.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the One Piece on Netflix, that's just 8 episodes. That doesn't seem too long.
It's not that it's long. It's just that I'm not interested. I'm sure it'd be fun.
No,
to,
I was making
watch.
a joke. I was making a joke. Because obviously One Piece anime. Now, if you said you were like a Saizai-san fan,
I will say. No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just making a joke. Saizai-san is currently the longest running anime season. It's like 5,000, 6,000 episodes. It's
Never heard of this show.
It's the most popular anime currently airing in Japan. It's been
Currently, it's not popular.
It's been airing since 1969.
Is this the Doraemon?
No, Saizai-san.
Never, no idea.
It's about a mother named Saze-san and her family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah.
Is
it
it
has
called-
to be some sort of family value thing where it's like
hold
on
on.
TV forever, right?
Is it
Yeah.
called?
Sai is a son.
I can
Sizes.
see that's cool. That's cool. I was gonna say, with what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna complain about Netflix. I don't like the release 8 episodes at once, or I thought they did 6
Yeah.
episodes at once. I wish they did it weekly, because I think for me, and this goes back to a question we were doing earlier, was like, for me, I like watching an episode and then seeing people react to stuff from that episode, right? So like watch parties are a lot of fun because if someone does like, oh no, they stabbed the dog, and then you see like the chat log speed up, and you're like, how dare they? Right?
I just like that was your first example. They stabbed the dog.
Well, because one of the recent watch parties I watched, have you heard of Mentopolis?
And Tom.
It's a D&D thing.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just open up. So Mentopolis is this show about like basically the inner workings of the mind. So the characters are all like people from inside the mind. So you have Madame Sorrow, Punch Curio, who's curiosity, right? Imelda Pulse, who's impulse, right? So you have these characters who are like people of the mind, right? And the show is real corny. It gets into a lot of like brain stuff, like, hey, if you borrow from the Museum of Memories, just change something every once in a while. Keep it fun, keep it exciting, right? And it's like, yep, I feel that. It's a lot of like really sciencey, nerdy humor, but it's great. It's a fun show. But each show has like a plot twist, right? And you always know the plot twist is coming, but it's really fun to like pull out the watch parties and see how people are going to react to it, and get that sort of conversation, right? I understand. No one likes D&D. Okay, cool.
I don't know. I think my thing is, I don't know. It's just like I want to try it, but sort of like the time commitment and sort of like it's a thing. I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna say a D&D anime would be fun, but then I realized most every fantasy anime has been influenced by D&D in one way or another.
There was a D&D TV show from like
There was, yeah, back in the 80s.
yeah.
Although that one didn't even have the D&D game. That one wasn't isekai, but they got sent into the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
It was an
Dungeons
isekai
and
before
Dragons
isekai was
Rock.
popular. Yeah, they did like dragons. Like they touched the board game and
Yeah.
they got stuck. Or like Jumanji, right? They touched the board game and they
Yeah.
got sucked into it without knowing anything about D&D or the rules or the characters. They're just kind of in it.
See, isekai is Western. Japan took that from us.
So curious. Let's do one last question. And I think this will be a good one since we're talking so much about anime. When something new is coming out, do you prefer to have your expectations high or low?
Low. That way,
Low.
if it disappoints, it's like, yeah, I expected that.
I'd say I take more of a measured approach. Like, I take things into consideration, like, okay, well, like, if it's an anime, for instance, I'm like, okay, who's the studio? What type of show is this? What does it look like? As soon as
I don't have the bandwidth to remember any of that shit.
Yeah, I think it's just
Oh,
sort of
studio? People know the studio? Cool.
I think for me it's just the thing that's like, and also this thing about like taking my own interest in comparison. So like me, if I see like there's a new slice of life coming out, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm probably gonna be into that. But if it's someone who's not a slice of life, they'll probably have their expectations lower. So you always have to think about like, okay, not only just sort of like the sort of objective qualities that up front, but also think love it, what are your interests, what are your likes and dislikes, what have I enjoyed previously that might be similar to this. So I would think
So you do set your expectations high, it sounds like, for some shows.
It depends. Like, if it's something they seem like I'm gonna like, I'm like, okay, I'll go to this and think like Skip and Loafer last spring. I had read part of the manga. It looked good. The staff in the studio and cast looked good, so I had my expectations pretty high, and my expectations were rewarded. But other things might be lower, and I might be justly rewarded for that. Like Odd Taxi 2 years ago, I was like, okay, this is gonna be this weird, free mystery show. It's going to be one of the best anime I've seen in years. So it really just depends on what information you have.
So you like the surprise. You like being like, oh, I thought this was bad, and now it turned out to be good.
Or the very least, nothing with bad, being more like, I don't really know how to feel on this. I'm just going to go into it, and then being rewarded with, hey, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, most of us here are like very, very pessimistic, or we're like, keep the expectations low. Don't expect too much. Don't get too excited now.
Yeah. It's been the best, because if you go in, like, this would be like the greatest thing ever, you watch it, and it's not. It's like, man.
Yeah, but like, isn't it fun to get excited about something? New Miraculous Ladybug season's coming out. Maybe it'll be good.
Maybe
I'll
this
really
time.
like it.
But you know what? That's what also makes it great. When you have the expectation, you watch it, and it's great, and you're like, wow, not really happy, Like,
But isn't it
I watched
fun?
the movie. The movie,
I'm sort of
expectation.
taking devil's advocate position of like, I know that it's much easier to keep your expectations low, right? But for the sake of argument, isn't it, there is a certain enjoyment I get before I watch an anime of like, ooh, I can't wait for this to come out. Ooh, I can't wait for this show season 2. And then, there's season 2s that are disappointing, or like Komi Can't Communicate. I couldn't fucking watch that show. The comedy on that show was dog shit. But, it looks so cute. You had so much hype around the panels and stuff. The art is so pretty. And it's like, I enjoyed the first episode and then it fell off. But I also enjoyed, like, vibing with people being excited about it and being like, oh man, did you see this art? Or like, oh man, this is going to be good. And like, that excitement in itself is a sort of enjoyment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Did
there's
you
also
like be
different...
excited for something? Like, and not like still have a low expectation?
Yeah, and I think
so.
another interesting thing to play into this.
I
is
think
sort of
if you're saying I have a low expectation, are you not also saying I'm going to avoid getting excited for it?
No, because it's like you want to watch it, but it's like I don't want to overhype myself. So it's like I will watch it. I'm excited to watch it, but I won't expect the greatest thing to change my life after.
See, that feels like you're in some sign of Stockholm syndrome. You're like, oh, I guess I'll buy the new Pokemon game, and I guess I'll complete it. But you don't really feel anything. You're just kind of forcing yourself through it. It's like, well, at that point, you're not really excited about it. You may as well just quit. You're not getting the fun of it, I feel.
Maybe some of us are masochists.
Yeah, we just like the pain.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not disputing the enjoyment of that, but
another thing that I think is interesting to consider about this is like when it's an adaptation of something you're familiar with. Like next month, we're getting the anime of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. It's a manga I've been reading for a while now. I love it. It's great. Every chapter is so much fun. And like I know the anime can fuck it up, but I'm still gonna keep my expectations high because I've already placed so much investment into the material.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you already like the show and an anime's coming out, I think it's natural to, like, to feel like, oh, this is gonna be great, right? You gotta settle in and get some popcorn ready for this. I gotta be here for the premiere. Gotta see the watch party and see people talk about the dog.
It's good silence.
I guess we
We're like-
reached the
we're-
end.
We're
Well,
like in a
I'm trying to
single
think,
bed
like-
fight.
How do I expand on this? But I don't know. Lid's probably half asleep anyways, right?
Yeah, I'm dying. This is too late in the night for me.
It's always too late in the night for you because all we
Yeah.
record in is at night.
Like, it's hard waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, oh for sure. Nah. I
Well,
mean, this
what
is...
if you just stayed awake till 5 a.m. and then go to sleep after the podcast?
But this is our eternal problem with the podcast. It's like we've always recorded it late as fuck.
Is when we're all free.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I'm free earlier, but always Saturday and Sunday. It's like, man, shit, I want to do, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm usually doing stuff on like Saturday, so like I'm always like, yeah, I'll just like pre-nap beforehand, and then it's like already 8:30, and I'm like, if I sleep now, I'm just going to bed.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, cool, great, great podcast, everyone. Have a good.
Great podcast. We're stellar.
I'm
We
thinking,
deserve
is there
a-
any like closing remarks, Johnny? You want to talk about? Do you have any like stories you're cooking up, or?
Actually, the thing I want to talk about is that I know you guys in a last episode or previous episode talked
Really
about
hoping not to.
no, it's about Genjutsu no Yohane, and I realized I haven't discussed my thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, shoot.
I
go for
dropped
it.
it.
Hey, a fellow enjoyer.
Yeah, I mean, look, I liked it at first, and I will admit, I have not seen, the only Love Live I've seen is School Idol Project. I haven't seen Sunshine, so I was coming into this pretty fresh. You know,
Big
I
W.
liked it at first. I liked the, the slice of life nature mixed with the fantasy aspect. I liked, slice of life fantasy. The action scene in episode 3 maybe gave me more hope for the show that it deserved. But it just kind of felt like more of a chore every week. And it's sort of like, I kind of got that sense of like, it seemed like they didn't really know what they wanted to do for the show. So yeah, I think it was after episode 10, I dropped it. I'll probably get back around to finishing it someday, but it was a chore.
Yeah, no worries. I get that. I also dropped it after episode 8 because it was like slowing down, and I was like, all right, I get what you're about. I
Yeah.
enjoy you, but I'll enjoy you on my own time.
Does the show know what it's about though? That's the important question.
Oh, 100% it does. It's very well written. It's just like, hey, you got different modes and you're flipping between them. The transitions aren't always neat. And sometimes they do goofy stuff where they'll like end on a cliffhanger, and then the next episode the cliffhanger was fuck all. And it's like,
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. OP is still a banger though. OP is great.
It is. I definitely would say it's very well written, and I think, especially if you're already a Love Live fan, a Sunshine fan, I should say, definitely worth the watch. Because I love the creativity. I love the world. I like the comedy of it. I think it's a good time. I don't know if we'll ever talk about this again. So gotta get the notes in there.
Yeah. Hey, wait until they release Genjutsu no Yohane Season 2, the Yohane.
Oh yeah, I'd be down. We need spin-offs of every group in like fantasy bullshit. Everyone lives in Europe now. Congratulations.
Or every group is a different genre, like Niji Gisaki is like some cyberpunk dystopia.
No, everyone needs to be medieval fantasy. Everyone needs to be in a vaguely like Germany, Scandinavian looking ass town.
And it's gotta have like that circular wall and the river running through it.
Yeah, of course. You gotta animate water. Shit's beautiful.
Can't be too original.
All right, we're out of gas here. I was thinking if I want to ask like Fallen to say something.
What?
Fallen, end it for us.
Yes. Yes. Goodbye.
Fantastic.
Oh my god.
I will stop
Okay.
recording there.
Avita saying.